If you're a newer attorney, you may feel like you need to develop your expertise in order to build your confidence as an attorney. And I understand that, and I understand that concern and that thinking. But consider this: if we always waited until we had expertise, whatever that may mean, in order for us to have confidence, not a lot would get done. You wouldn't try new things. I wouldn't try new things. So we can't follow that. We can't wait for the expertise in order to create our confidence. When I went out on my own and opened my own law firm in 2016, I had no expertise in how to open a law firm or how to open any business. I had never owned a business before. But what I did know is that I could count on me to figure it out. I didn't know all the how. I didn't know the details of how I would have a successful law firm, but I knew how to put one foot in front of the other. I knew what the immediate next step needed to be. I heard this, I was watching The Secret again. I haven't watched it in a while. And someone in the movie mentioned, like, if you're driving across the country in the middle of the night, maybe you're going from, I don't know, from LA to New York, right? And you have your headlights on, you can only see, 100 or 200 feet in front of you. But that's all you need to be able to see to trek that distance. And that really just resonated with me, and I think for a lot of you as well, in that you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have every turn, every highway, every direction known, as long as you can just get in front of you. And that's what I had when I went out on my own. If you are considering going out on your own, but fearing and are concerned or worried that you don't know all of the how, that you don't know how, you don't have all the expertise, let me tell you, when I went out on my own, I didn't know all the how. I didn't know anything. All I knew was, okay, how am I going to get my first month of expenses paid? That's all I knew how to figure out. I didn't have a big amount of savings. I didn't use debt. I didn't use any credit cards or personal loans. I didn't borrow money to open my law firm. And I have told you before that I am a big proponent of having a very small overhead when I went out on my own. So it was very minimal. I did have a brick and mortar office when I opened my own law firm. I still have that same office today. Um, so when I went out on my own, I needed to figure out how I was going to pay my overhead for that first month. How was I going to pay it for the whole year? How was I going to replace my salary from the firm I was at before I went solo? I didn't know. But you know what I did know? I knew how to work my network. I knew how to tell people what it is that I did and how I could help them. I knew how to get in front of my potential clients. I knew how to take those small steps that would in turn pay my first month's expenses, that would in turn pay my expenses for the year, more than replace my first year's salary, my salary in my first year of being out on my own. All those things came because I just took one step at a time. I had faith and belief in myself and my ability to figure things out. If you are a newer attorney, so you've gone through college and law school and your bar prep and passed the bar exam, like, you know how to figure things out. But sometimes we forget to trust ourselves and our ability to be able to figure things out. And that's where the confidence comes in. My confidence came from knowing that I knew how to figure things out, that I knew how to take one small step at a time and follow that path, follow that journey, let that unfold. I didn't know what being out on my own, what Dow Law Firm would look like almost 10 years later, right? You'll do your business plan, you'll have your thoughts, you'll have your ideas, but that's going to unfold for you as you navigate down that path. So your focus should be on having confidence in those first few steps. Do you know what needs your immediate attention? Now, this can be scary, for sure. It was scary for me to go out on my own. I shared with you, I waited about 2 or 3 years before finally going out on my own. From when I first toyed around with the idea, thought it might be for me, but I doubted myself and my ability to be able to go out on my own for those first few years. And there were hard days. Like, please don't mistake my videos and my encouragement to you to open your own law firm. If that's what is in your future for you, don't mistake that for me saying that it's easy. It's not a matter of it being easy. There's hard days. Even now, almost 10 years later of being a solo, there are still hard days, but it's worth it. And being solo for the past 10 years, things are going very well. I could not see going back to a firm ever in my career. But it's not perfect. There are still things that I have to try and figure out. I still hit roadblocks or obstacles where I don't immediately know what the answer is, but I know that I can figure things out. And I know that I have built my network and trusted resources, friends, colleagues, of people that I can turn to. And this is important. If you are a solo, you need to have this community around you of people that you can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I'm having this problem. Because you're not the first one to encounter that problem. Whatever the problem may be, I promise you, you're not the first person. And you don't need to always reinvent the wheel. You don't always need to do things the hard way or make things difficult. And so having those people you can rely on, reach out to, and who will talk you through it, walk you through those things is very important for you to have if you are a solo. And so if you are, especially if you're a new attorney, you don't have to be an expert in everything. You don't have to know all the things to be able to open your own law firm. So if I were just starting out, if it was me and I wanted to go out on my own, my primary focus would be developing my network and building those relationships to have that community of people, other lawyers, other solos that you can go to when things get hard. Because again, that's what's really gotten me through. And that's where my primary focus would be. You need those people, not just for the sake of your business, as far as having those referrals and building that revenue for your firm. I mean, that's going to come as well from your networking efforts. But you also need to have those trusted people that you can rely and call. I have a very strong handful of other attorneys that I know I can call and will walk me through an issue if I'm having one. And you need to have that for yourself and create that. If you are an ISTJ like me, you're Myers-Briggs, you're an introvert, the notion of going out and establishing this network is scary, overwhelming, not something you want to do. You'd rather stay at home. Can you do it on Zoom? I understand that, but you actually need to get out there and meet people. And I firmly believe that the best way to build those relationships is to do so in person. And so, yes, you can do things virtually and you can have the virtual meetings or phone meetings. That's great, but I don't think that really replaces the in-person of really getting to know someone and developing that long-term relationship, that trust, that bond, to have that person be there for you, support you when you need help, cheer for you when things are great, right? You need to have that community around you. And so start there. That's where you're going to start putting your one foot in front of the other, is building that network, building that community. If going out on your own and opening your own law firm is right for you, figure out what are the first few steps that you need to do. Maybe you will want to look at, what the first year and your 5-year and 10-year plans are. But you're not going to have all those answers, and those plans are going to change. That's good to help guide you in what direction you're going with your firm and making sure you're on track as you're making decisions, especially as you grow your firm and add to your team, or if you add other attorneys. So you want to have that vision for the long term, but for the immediate future, because I don't want your fear or lack of having it all figured out stopping you or delaying you or preventing you from going forward and opening your law firm. So if I can give you a few takeaways, it's focus on growing that network, really establishing strong bonds and relationships with other people that you will be able to call and rely on and to help you when you need it. And then also figure out what are those first few steps that you need to do to go out on your own. You don't need to have it all figured out. It doesn't need to be perfect. I always tell my lawyers, we are not looking for perfection here when it comes to opening your law firm, running your law firm. We don't need A plus work. We're looking for a solid B. If you can do a solid B work, you're doing far better than a lot of other attorneys, let me tell you, okay? So we want to do a good job, but it doesn't need to be perfect. So if you've been struggling with feeling like you're not confident in your skills or abilities as a lawyer or going out on your own as a law firm owner, if you've been concerned that you don't have the expertise, let this support you and help guide you and help motivate you to keep going, to know it's okay, and to know that you know how to figure things out and how to put one foot in front of the other, because that's how we all are getting through. Nobody has it all figured out. I don't care how successful somebody is. They don't have it all perfectly figured out. They are figuring it out as they go. So I hope this helps you. I have other videos about opening your law firm, managing your law firm, so feel free to look at those, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.